joining me for this Walking Well video. So what is walking well? Walking well is walking confidently, walking safely, and feeling good when you walk. Feeling confident about going places where you're going to need to walk, and not allowing anxiety or challenges with walking to stop you from doing the things that you want or need to do. So it can feel quite frustrating. I know I've heard from many people that I've worked with that you've spent all your life walking without thinking about it, and now you do need to think about it. But instead of thinking about the worrying, what we're going to do is think about the things that will help you to walk well. So you can walk with intention and know that you are doing things that will help you to walk more confidently, more safely, to reduce your risk of trips and falls, and to be able to enjoy going out for walks and enjoy your companions and looking at the environment around you and feeling good about walking. So I've heard from you that you maybe feel unsteady on uneven ground, that you struggle with if a pavement or a walkway is at an angle, or there's bumpy paving stones or tree roots or uneven ground perhaps in a park or something. Walking can also be harder when you're tired, when you're carrying things, when you're distracted in a busy area with lots of people rushing around and bikes and kids and things like that. What we're going to do, we're going to practice these skills in the peace and quiet of your home, with a nice flat clear floor with no obstacles, and spend some time really practicing that for two reasons. One is so when you're out and about you can think of these things and practice them then too, but also so that hopefully they just get absorbed a little bit as well and you start to do them without even having to think about that. That will come further down the line. We will need to proactively focus on and try to do these things, but they are not complicated and they absolutely will help you to walk well. So diving straight in, the first thing we want to think about for walking well is posture. And posture can get really complicated. Sometimes people talk to you about posture and they're talking about where are your hips and your tummy and your shoulders and your head, and there's like 5 or 6 different instructions, and it's too much. By the time they've got to the last instruction, you've forgotten what the first one was, and that's just too much. We need to keep it simple if we're going to remember this in the midst of a busy high street or with other things going on. So for posture, I'd like you to think about a string coming out of the crown of your head and just pulling you up really tall, and just kind of release everything and just wriggle and stretch and pull yourself up, and that string is pulling the crown of your head all the way up as high as you can. And then just make sure to relax your shoulders. Your shoulders should be underneath your ears, so just check for that and relax them. But just always come back to that string, because once we pull up tall, a lot of that slouching and twisting and poor posture, it kind of releases itself because it has to for us to stand up tall. So that is the first key to walking well, is posture. And just think about pulling up tall through that string. Brilliant. The second thing that we want to think about for our walking is about looking straight ahead. Now, especially if you feel unsteady when you're walking, I know it's really tempting, and sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes you've got to look at the ground in front of you. Sometimes you've got to look and check for that tree root or someone's left something on the floor. But as a general rule, we want to be looking straight ahead, because when we look down, it shifts our posture and it affects our center of gravity, and it actually makes us more likely to fall. It makes it harder for us to maintain our balance. So when we're walking, thinking about looking straight ahead And if we need to look down, just glance down quickly, but bring your gaze straight back up. So posture, that string pulling you up, looking straight ahead, maintaining your center of gravity in the most desirable space to help you maintain your balance. The third thing that we want to think about for walking well is about our arms. So walking is actually a full body activity. Often when we're walking, and especially as we start to struggle with our walking, we're just thinking about our legs, and our upper body becomes quite static and tight and fixed when we're walking. But actually walking is a full body activity, and when we swing our arms, we get some rotation through our spine, which actually helps that walking motion. And so many of the people I work with, we see that they've reduced the arm swing or stopped it altogether. So we want to get that arm swing back. So thinking about swinging from the shoulders. So the bend in the elbow stays pretty fixed. It's not about moving from the elbow. It's about swinging from the shoulders. And just try that on the spot now. Walking on the spot. Big swings from the shoulders as you walk. And that really gets your whole spine moving, and it enables you to walk in a much more comfortable and a much more powerful and more balanced fashion. So the posture, string pulling you up, looking straight ahead, big swings from the shoulders. And then moving on to number 4. The fourth thing that we want to think about for walking well is taking big strides. And this is also counterintuitive, because as we start to struggle with our balance and become a bit more anxious about walking, we shorten our stride. So we take these little steps instead of actually taking big strides. And this is where it's good to practice at home and to practice taking those big steps somewhere safe, somewhere without any obstacles, and somewhere you've got something to hold on to. So what I'd like you to think about when you're practicing your walking is about just stepping out a little further each time. And try and see if you're taking equal strides with each leg. You may well notice that one leg you take slightly smaller strides than with the other leg. So try to even them out. But overall, just try and think about taking slightly longer steps. And how you could do this is, if you've got a long room or a corridor at home or somewhere safe where you can practice your walking, just walk normally without sort of thinking or trying, and see how many steps it takes you. And then try again with the posture and the arm swings and taking big steps, and see if you can reduce the number of steps that you need to walk that distance. And what you'll find is the bigger strides, you will feel more confident when you're walking, and it will force you to walk better. Moving on from the big strides is the 5th key to walking well. And this is what we do with our feet while we're walking. So we've kind of moved down from the top of the head with the posture pulling up tall, to the gaze looking straight ahead, to swinging the arms, to the hips, which is where we take the big strides. And then we're going down to our feet. And what we want to think about with our feet is doing a how we place our foot on the ground. And instead of just placing the foot flat on the ground, we want to do a rolling motion. So we want our heel to strike the ground first. Then we want to roll through the foot and push off from the toes. And this gives us a lot more power. It enables us to take a bigger stride. And it also makes us less likely to trip and fall. So if there's a paving stone that's up, or a tree root or something when you're out, if you put your foot down just flat like this, your toes will catch it and you're more likely to trip on it. Whereas if you put your heel down first, you're less likely to trip on that bit of paving stone or whatever else is on the ground. And this is something that we really do need to practice, and probably over exaggerate when you're practicing, to then when you walk, have it happen a little more naturally. So think about practicing that. Find a wall you can walk along, somewhere safe at home, and really thinking about heel, roll through the foot, push off the toes, roll through the foot and push off the toes. And you'll find that as you're looking straight ahead and as you're taking big strides and swinging the arms, that walking feels so different, and you'll feel much more confident, and you will enjoy the walking more, and you will also be much safer when you're walking. So those are our 5 keys to walking well. We've got the posture, that string pulling you up. We've got the gaze, looking straight ahead unless you absolutely need to look down. We've got the big arm swings from the shoulders. We've got the big strides from the hips. And we've got that heel toe, that rolling movement with the feet. Now, if that feels like overwhelming, if that feels too much for you to think about and work with right now, then just practice them one at a time. Just do some walking where you think about your posture. So whether you go out for a walk or you practice walking up and down somewhere at home, just think about your posture. Just think about that string and keep coming. You'll keep forgetting. You'll get distracted. You'll think about other things. That is fine, and that's going to happen. But then on a separate walk, think about your gaze. The next time you think about the arm swings, the next time you think about the strides, and then separately you think about the heel toe. And you might realize that one of them is significantly more helpful to you than the others. You might find that when you do the heel toe, wow, this feels really different. This feels good. I love it when I walk like this. And then that's the one that you can focus on, and that's probably going to help you most. Don't forget the others, come back to them sometimes. But I think you will feel as you go through them separately, you will feel which one can make the biggest difference to you. Something you may try, and I know your initial response to this is going to be absolutely not, but just think about having someone film you while you walk and watch that back. And when you see it, that may help you to understand. It's hard to evaluate yourself while you're doing something. But watching that video, you may notice that you do look at the ground, or that you do take smaller steps than you thought. So that, while it sounds like, it doesn't sound like a very appetizing thing to do, if you can get yourself to around that, then give it a go, because it will really help you to identify where you can make the biggest difference in your walking. So I hope that thinking about these 5 keys to walking well has been helpful for you. I'd love to know how you get on, and I really hope that this helps you to walk with more confidence, to walk more safely, and to enjoy being out and about, to look forward to being out and about, and to making the most of that. Thank you so much for joining me, and please do let me know how you get on with practicing walking well. Take care.